In a world that worships success and recognition, one man did the unthinkable. He walked away from it all. At the peak of his genius, after revolutionizing mathematics, after winning its highest honor, he vanished into silence. This is the story of Alexander Grothendieck, whose work reshaped an entire field, yet he walked away from everything at this height of his career, choosing solitude over glory. The man who built mathematical universes then abandoned them to search for God. Let's step into the paradoxical life of the greatest mathematical mind of the 20th century. A genius who proved that enlightenment and isolation are sometimes inseparable. Alexander Grothendieck was born on March 28, 1928, in Berlin, a city on the edge of darkness. His father, Alexander Sasha Shapiro, was a Russian Jewish anarchist who had fought in the 1905 revolution, lost his left arm in battle, and lived his life as a revolutionary exile. His mother, Johanna Hanke Grothendieck, was a German journalist who rejected her bourgeois upbringing to join the anarchist cause. They were idealists, revolutionaries. And when the Nazis rose to power in 1933, they made an impossible choice. They fled to stay alive, leaving their 5-year-old son behind. Sasha fled to Paris. Hanke followed. Young Alexander, called Schurig, was placed with foster parents in Hamburg, the Haydorns, a pacifist couple who opposed the Nazi regime. For 6 years, he lived as a hidden child, his Jewish heritage kept secret. His parents fighting wars across Europe. In 1939, as war clouds gathered, his foster mother put 11-year-old Alexander on a train to France. He reunited with his parents, strangers who had returned from fighting in the Spanish Civil War. The reunion was brief. Within a year, the family was imprisoned in French internment camps under the Vichy regime. His father was sent to Camp Vernet, a place of unspeakable conditions. His mother and young Alexander were held at Reclusive. In 1942, his father was deported to Auschwitz. He died within days of arrival. Alexander was 14. He would not learn of his father's death until 1946, after the war ended. But even in darkness, something remarkable was happening. In the internment camp, a young girl named Maria taught 12-year-old Grothendieck the definition of a circle, all points equidistant from a center. It was his first formal lesson in mathematics, and it changed everything. After the camps, Alexander and his mother moved to Le Chambon-sur-Lignon, a village in the mountains known for hiding Jewish children from the Nazis.
They're getting closer. Shh.
When the Gestapo raided, the students fled into the forests, divided into small groups, surviving until it was safe. Here at the Collège Sévenot, a school devoted to pacifism, Alexander taught himself mathematics from borrowed books. Before he turned 20, working alone, he had rediscovered the Lebesgue measure, a fundamental concept in integration theory that took mathematicians decades to develop. He didn't know it already existed. He simply figured it out. In 1948, Grothendieck moved to Paris to pursue mathematics seriously. His mother, struggling with mental illness, came with him. He cared for her while building his career, a responsibility that isolated him further. At the University of Montpellier and later at Nancy, he studied under Jean Dieudonné and Laurent Schwartz, the latter a recent Fields Medal winner. They gave him a paper ending with 14 unsolved problems in functional analysis. Grothendieck solved all of them in a few months. His approach was revolutionary. He didn't solve problems the conventional way. He owned very few books, which forced him to develop entirely original methods. Where others saw obstacles, he saw new mathematical universes. He introduced the theory of schemes, a framework that revolutionized algebraic geometry by extending it beyond fields to all commutative rings. He developed K-theory, sheaf cohomology, topos theory, and étale cohomology. Tools that enabled solutions to problems mathematicians had struggled with for over a century. A colleague wrote, "He pursued a kind of dialogue with mathematics and God, which to him were one and the same." His seminars at IHES became legendary, attracting the brightest minds from around the world. When a visitor noted the library was incomplete, Grothendieck replied, "We don't read books. We write them." In 1966, Alexander Grothendieck was awarded the Fields Medal, the Nobel Prize of Mathematics, for his fundamental contributions to algebraic geometry, homological algebra, and K-theory. He was 38 years old, at the peak of his powers. Universally recognized as the greatest mathematician of his generation. But he refused to attend the ceremony in Moscow. His reason? A political protest against Soviet militarism and the imprisonment of dissident writers. The director of IHES accepted the medal on his behalf. It was the first sign that Grothendieck was not like other mathematicians. His conscience was as uncompromising as his mathematics. In 1970, Grothendieck discovered that IHES received partial funding from the military. He resigned immediately. To protest the Vietnam War, he had traveled to Hanoi, lecturing on category theory in the forests while the city was bombed. Now he could no longer work at an institution funded by war. His colleagues were stunned. Many called it mathematical suicide. His students, including Pierre Deligne, a future Fields Medal winner himself, were left to continue the paths he had opened, without their visionary guide. Grothendieck tried to start a pacifist and environmental movement. He taught at the University of Montpellier, promoting military disarmament and pesticide-free farming. But unlike his mathematics, his political campaigns were largely ineffective. In 1988, Grothendieck was awarded the Crawford Prize, one of the most prestigious awards in mathematics, worth significant money. He rejected it. He publicly criticized what he called the growing dishonesty and politicization of science. Then, in 1991, he disappeared. He moved to Les Serres, a tiny village in the French Pyrenees, not far from Camp Vernet, where his father had been imprisoned before Auschwitz. He cut all ties with the mathematical community, with his children, with the world. When his family sent letters, they were returned unopened. For over 20 years, almost no one knew where he was, or even if he was still alive. During his isolation, Grothendieck wrote obsessively, tens of thousands of pages. Philosophical reflections, spiritual meditations, mathematical insights, dreams transcribed as proofs of the divine. His main work from this period, Récolte et Semailles, Reapings and Sowings, was part memoir, part spiritual quest, part critique of the mathematical establishment that had, in his view, betrayed its ideals. He was interested in Buddhism, then later a mystical form of Christianity. He became a strict vegetarian. He characterized his mathematical style as yin, feminine, patient, letting solutions emerge naturally rather than forcing them. In one section, spanning 15,000 pages, he meditated on the problem of evil and the nature of Satan. His daughter Johanna later said, "He completely cut ties with his family. We could no longer communicate with him." In 2014, a neighbor alerted his family that Grothendieck's health was failing. Johanna and her brother were finally able to visit their father. On November 13, 2014, Alexander Grothendieck died in the village of Saint-Girons at age 86. He had lived his final decades as a hermit, writing to God, searching for meaning beyond mathematics. Grothendieck's mathematical contributions remain foundational. His concepts, schemes, topoi, étalé cohomology are the language modern algebraic geometry speaks. Andrew Wiles's proof of Fermat's last theorem? Built on Grothendieck's framework. Gerd Falting's solution to the Mordell conjecture. Grothendieck's tools. His unpublished manuscripts, over 50,000 handwritten pages, were donated to the Bibliothèque nationale de France in 2023. They sit in a glass case next to a manuscript by Euclid, the father of geometry. Scholars say it will take decades to fully understand what he wrote. In a letter to mathematician Ronnie Brown, Grothendieck once wrote about why mathematics matters. It allows people to do difficult things, and it creates the tools by which difficult things can be made simple. Yet this man who made the impossible simple found the simple impossible. He could unify entire branches of mathematics, but couldn't reconcile with his own past. He could see mathematical structures invisible to others, but couldn't bear to see the world as it was. He built mathematical universes that will endure for centuries. Then he walked away from them all, not out of weakness, but out of an uncompromising search for truth that went beyond equations. Some called it madness, others called it enlightenment. Perhaps it was both. The next time you encounter something impossibly complex, remember the man who made complexity simple, then chose simplicity over recognition, silence over acclaim, and solitude over everything. Remember Alexander Grothendieck, Fields Medal winner, mathematical revolutionary, hermit, seeker, a genius who walked away and, in walking away, showed us that some questions are more important than answers. This is Awards, where the world's greatest minds live forever. Like and subscribe to be inspired by history